Hello guys, I have basically just said goodbye to past version of you in the previous week's vlog, and I'm here to just kind of introduce the new vlog. So we are going into the second week of the month of December. It is the 8th of December at this point in time, and it is the second to last week in which I'm still working the entire week. Actually, next week I'm not even working the entire week. I have a half a day off, so we're getting down to the wire when it comes to this work year. And yeah, I'm currently reading a few books at the same time, so I'm taking part in my own readathon, which is Game Nightathon, the lottery edition, and so I'm low-key taking part. I don't want to be winning, so in any case I'm not going to be putting in the effort to try and get to log as many books as possible, but I do want to be reading as many books as possible for it, even if I cannot log them for the win. But so yes, I am currently reading 3 books. So I am currently reading Crossroads of Ravens, the prequel to the Witcher series. I am reading an advent calendar book, which is A Heart for Christmas by Sophie Jomain. Probably you won't hear me talk about this one within this vlog unless something sort of like really interesting happens within it, just because I'll be making progress throughout this book for like 25 days, so otherwise it's going to appear in like every single vlog for this month, so probably you won't hear me talk about this within this video. And then the final thing that I'm currently listening to is Mistletoe and Mayhem at the Little Shopping Mall by Hannah Pearl. It's a very mouthful. I always have to think about that title, which is basically the book that I'm reading for the Mistletoe prompt. So it has mistletoe on the cover, and also it is a book with romance, which is the prompt interpretation of mistletoe. But so yes, that is what I'm currently reading. I am not that far into most of them. I'm probably the furthest into Mistletoe and Mayhem because I listened to that audiobook yesterday, so I'm about a third of the way into that one. But yes, I am gonna hopefully tonight get a little bit of more progress in like Crossroads of Ravens, because I do have to say that I'm struggling with that one. The writing style for that one is really a little bit of a struggle to get through. And so yeah, I'm thinking that I kind of want to get a little bit further into this one to see if it's just a matter of me getting into it more, or whether the writing style is just really going to keep on standing in the way of my enjoyment of the story, and therefore it is a book that I should be DNFing, which would be really unfortunate because I'll show it later in the video, but this is a special edition from the Broken Binding. It's the first one of their SFF new subscription. So yeah, it would be a sad start to this subscription for me to DNF the first book of it that I get. But yes, if that is the case, then so be it, of course. But I was definitely hoping for a little bit more success, but I definitely also knew that there was a little bit of a risk there, because I have heard throughout the years that a lot of people do struggle with the writing style of The Witcher, and having read 16% I think in it, I can understand the problem. Hello, I hope I am somewhat properly lit, because I do not really want to bother with the light, but it is Friday after work. It's a bit later than usual because I had a last minute late night call. I mean late night. It was beyond the point in which I wanted it to be lasting. But so yes, I am now ready to start the weekend. Now, during the week, the main thing that happened is I decided to put a book down. We are no longer reading Crossroads of Ravens. I think when I last updated you guys, I talked about how I had switched to the Dutch audiobook for this. And definitely the Dutch audiobook got me to like 60% of it, and definitely got me through the book a lot quicker and a lot more like enjoyable, because I was definitely like struggling with every page when I was physically reading it. The Dutch audiobook definitely also had its struggles because of it being Dutch from the Netherlands, and just that language does not mesh well with a fantastical setting for me. Definitely not with a medieval fantastical setting, because the language feels too young to me. And so it definitely wasn't like ideal for my engagement, or my sort of like, you know, like my ability to really invest in the story and really be transported by the story. But ultimately the real reason I'm putting it down is it has too much sort of like casual misogyny, too many sort of like do jokes, and our protagonist isn't necessarily taking part in them, but it's also not like he's shooting them down or anything like that. Like, this humor is there and there's no real commentary on whether we should like this humor or not, but in any case I'm not enjoying it. And then there's the fact that it's like, I don't know, the writing style, there's something about the way it is done that just doesn't really work for me. And like the sort of like final blow, the reason why I stopped was that, you know, at some point 60% in I was just starting to lose interest in it, because I did at some point start to feel like, okay, we're going into the story, but then towards the 60% mark I was starting to feel like, no, this is going to be very sort of like episodic. He is going to see a request for a witcher, he's going to go over there, fight a monster, go back, next case, and maybe there is some sort of like overarching story that is also going to go into that is also going to weave into this story, because as far as I'm understanding it, there are certainly some Witcher books that are sort of like short story collections, and this one is not, but it definitely felt too much like that for my enjoyment. That's not something that I like. For example, I do not watch like detective stories or hospital series or anything like that, because they are so case of the week, and the real exceptions to that are shows like Buffy or Charmed that are case of the week, but that have enough of an overarching story weaving through the episodes that, you know, I can deal with episode of the week aspect to it. I can even enjoy it a lot of the time. And I feel like with this one, it was definitely feeling too much like there's a case of the week, and if there is an overarching story, the overarching story so far has not really gripped me. And I also don't feel like there really was much of an overarching story yet. There were sort of like the elements there to build an overarching story with, but we hadn't really done anything with that. So in the end I just decided like, okay, I've made it through the halfway point, I can count it for my readathon, but honestly speaking, there is nothing in me that wants to continue or that sees any value in continuing, so I DNF'd it at that point in time. I am very happy to be 11 days into my advent calendar book, so we're almost to the midway point. The previous chapter ended in a way that, you know, we'll have our two romantic interests spending a chapter together, so I'm looking forward to this particular chapter, and then I'll be halfway through that one. And then I also did another spin once I DNF'd Crossroads of Ravens. That landed me with... Good question. That landed me with a bell prompt, and actually for the bell prompt I did have a particular book in mind, a particular Christmassy read, but the bell prompt means a 2025 release, and so I could also use The Loneliness of Sonia and Szalay, which I started to listen to throughout this week, for that one, and I let you guys vote, and you guys voted for me to count a current read for this particular prompt, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be counting The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny for this one. So far, we have not finished anything else, I don't think so. I'm still listening to the Mistletoe and Mayhem at a little shopping mall, but I'm about to finish that one probably tonight. I think I have like an hour of the audiobook left when it comes to that one, so I'll give you my final thoughts on that when I've finished it. But so yeah, let's go into the weekend. I'm gonna be hosting Sprint soon, and yeah, I don't really have much plans for this weekend. I'm going to see my parents on Sunday, and I did today remember that I definitely have to start writing my Christmas cards, because it is like it's cutting it close, you know, it's less than 2 weeks until Christmas, so I need to start sending out these postcards if I want them to arrive before Christmas. Yes. Hello, hello. My Christmas tree isn't on yet. I'm called out, but this is the 13th of December, and if I've got that right, that means that I can start my 12 days of Christmas advent calendar. So I have quite a few advent calendars, and I gotta say that I'm not even like all that excited about all of them, because I have a Gilmore Girls one that I just thought was like fun-ish, but I've basically already seen all the items in it because it arrived like with all the items out of it, so I had to put them into the box, and so I've basically already seen all of the items in there, so that's a little bit of a disappointment. I do love my Wine Gums one, and I love a lot of things about that one, because that one has like bray on the different boxes, so like also for blind people, they can like read the braille in order to find the day of the month. And then it also underneath each flap has like a little bit of a text that either is like a fun fact that is Christmas related, or you know, like a joke or a riddle or something like that. So I really enjoyed that one. Then I got one like really late, which is just like a Nestle one that was like discounted in stores because December had already started. But basically that one is a little bit disappointing because it turns out to be like just the exact same chocolate every single day, and I'm like, yeah, part of the fun of having like an advent calendar with chocolate is just like, even if it's always just like milk chocolate, is having like different shapes and stuff like that. But this is really just exactly the same rectangular piece of chocolate every single day, and white chocolate at that, which is a little bit like not that exciting. So that one isn't really working out all that well for me. And then I have my advent calendar book, which is the big success of this advent calendar season, because I do really love that, and I've been really enjoying my time with this one. But this one is a 12 Days of Christmas advent calendar by Basically Brits. So I will have her video channel linked down below in the description box. But so she is a bookish creator, and she also creates a lot of sort of like bookish stationery items and stuff like that. And so this is an advent calendar. I believe all of the items in here are sort of like exclusive to this advent calendar, for the time being at least. And so today we can kind of go into it. I already almost spoiled myself because the other side of this box is basically like a spoiler alert, and yeah, that was the side that was facing up when I opened the packaging. So yeah, so it says here as well, like, you can choose to open the gifts on alternate days starting December 1st or on the 12 days leading up to Christmas starting on the 13th. So I had not even opened this one, otherwise I could have seen this instruction to be sure to open on the correct day. But so let's open up the sort of like packaging paper. So it's got like the parchment paper here, and then we have the first little thing. So it's very small, so let's dive into this to see what the treat is for the first day of the advent calendar. I probably won't share every single day with you guys, but I thought for the first time it would be nice to join you. I'd say a mirror. My brain. It's a mirror, and it says the face of a real bookworm. I'll have a close-up on that because you won't be able to see that very well from this big of a distance. But so it's a lovely little sort of like foresty spring scene with a pocket mirror on the other side. And I actually don't think I have a pocket mirror, so that one can go straight into my little handbag, and then it can already start seeing some use straight away. So yeah, enjoy that one a lot. And so yeah, this is an entire box full with these little packages with then the dates of the month, like on it, not really of the month, the days of the 12 days of Christmas. And so yeah, I'm gonna be very happy to unwrap each one of these over the coming 12 days, and I'll show some occasionally here, but yeah, I won't show all 12 of them here because that's also a lot, right? But so yeah, I'm currently today focusing a lot on sort of like content creation. So I've already edited and exported a video with my anticipated releases for January and February of 2026, and I've now just edited the vlog for the first week of December, and so that is now exporting, and then that can go up this afternoon. And then I do still need to edit my wrap-up for the month of November so that that can go up on Wednesday, and probably edit the short for Monday. So yeah, still some content creation that needs to happen throughout this weekend. Won't do all of that today probably, but what I do definitely want to do right now is I want to start writing my Christmas cards. I talked about this in the first vlog of the month of December, and so an entire week has passed in between that, and I'm like, I still actually have yet to do that. So let's get on that. Let's make sure that I write these postcards now. If I like keep on going at it, I can still post these today so that I'm sure that they will still arrive before Christmas. So that should be the goal, right? So let's just get a move on, stop procrastinating on this and do it. Hello, it is a week almost after I filmed that clip. So yeah, we're not doing great when it comes to content creation, so please forgive me for that. I don't really know what I talked about last. I do think that I hadn't yet finished Mistletoe and Mayhem at the little shopping mall, which I did finish in the meantime. And you know, I definitely enjoyed this book and I had a pretty decent time with it. I definitely think that like if you're looking for, you know, like your typical Christmas romance, that this one is definitely well worthwhile, but I definitely do think that there is some sort of like ridiculousness about the way in which it resolves towards the end, in which I was just like, okay, right, like we were definitely building up the elements that were necessary for coming to this conclusion throughout the entirety of the book, so it wasn't like it caught me by surprise, but it definitely was like, you know, it took the whole sort of like conclusion to a level of ridiculousness that just had me kind of semi-rolling my eyes at it, but I did definitely enjoy that. And then I just gotta briefly talk about next week, I guess, because conclusion here is that I have not been vlogging so far. I will probably start a vlog tomorrow or something like that, because I am going to the zoo and I do have like a you know, like a light festival at the zoo to kind of report on, which would be nice in terms of content as well, I think. So yeah, I think I am going to start another vlog tomorrow, and that will have like the Christmas period in it, though I will probably not really be vlogging any of the things that happen on Christmas evening or on Christmas Day, because, you know, I just like to very much live in the moment in those days, because those are my favorite days of the year. But yeah, with regards to what has happened in the meantime, I did host I did put a poll up on my channel to try and figure out what my next book was gonna be. I have forgotten what I rolled, but basically I had the option to go for the Penguin Lessons, or I've already even forgotten what the other option was, even though I was kind of rooting for the other option to some extent. And yeah, I have definitely completely forgotten that. Conclusion, you guys voted for the Penguin Lessons. And I do definitely want to read that, because the movie for that has come out probably at this point in time, or is coming out this week. And I do want to go and see it in cinema. And so if I am able to read his book, then I can go over and to reading it, to watching it. However, I've not even been able to start it yet. I am currently reading 3 books at the same time. I'm reading my Advent calendar book, which, because of being in a funk for the past week, I have I'm like 3 days behind on that, 4 if we include today, I guess. So definitely need to catch up to that today. I have The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny is my commute book. I do have to say that I'm not necessarily enjoying it as much. I think it could have definitely done with a shorter page count and a little bit of a snappier pace to keep me engaged. It's not like I dislike it all that much, but it is definitely very long, and I definitely feel like I'm like not so in love with it that I'm like, oh yeah, give me more pages, you know. I'm more like, okay, can we start rounding this off, but I still have like 9 hours to go out of this 25-hour audiobook. And then I'm also listening to Emma by Jane Austen, because this week I decided to start Emma because it was the 250th birthday of Jane Austen, and so I made a Jane Austen puzzle while listening to Emma by Jane Austen. Emma is my least favorite Jane Austen, I kind of say, but it's probably not entirely true, but it's just like out of her major works, it is one that I don't really tend to vibe with very well, just because the character of Emma really annoys and irks me, and so I get very little enjoyment out of being shown the story through her lens. But yes, that's why I kind of wanted to listen to this one now, because I've only read Emma once. I've seen a few adaptations, of course, but I definitely thought like, okay, I could go for something that's like super near and dear to my heart, like Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion. However, like, let me go for one that I don't really enjoy all that much, to see if, you know, I can get more out of it on another like listen in this case. And I definitely have enjoyed my time listening to it. I am at the sort of like worst section of the book, the section in which like everything has just gone downhill, but so that means it's looking up finally. We are seeing character development in Emma finally. But yes, there are definitely parts of this that have vexed me, and this is another one of those stories that just takes forever. Where like I know it's not as long as The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny, for example. I think in total it is probably a little bit longer than what I still have left to listen to in The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny, but definitely it is on the long side for considering, for example, Persuasion, my favorite. And so yeah, for a book that vexes me and annoys me, it's unfortunate that it also takes a little bit longer of a time to lay everything out and have everything unfurled. But so, that has been what I've done in the past week. It has also been the final week in which I was working this year. So on Friday afternoon I was done with work, and I started to do some cleaning, went for like a final shopping trip in order to get the final things that I need for people for Christmas. And then I should still over this weekend, maybe not over this weekend, I should still maybe on Monday or so try to place an order for baguettes for Christmas Eve, because we will be having a cheese fondue here at my place. I've already ordered the cheese fondue, but I definitely also still need to order the baguettes to go along with it. But so yeah, by that time, I was gonna say, by the time you're watching this today if I can edit it in time, so the next time you hear from me will either be Monday or will be on Christmas Eve. Depends on whether I still have something to make for Christmas. Depends if I still have a video in me for Monday. The one for Wednesday is already pre-filmed and edited, so that one is definitely gonna see that one is definitely gonna come your way. I'm not entirely sure whether I will have inspiration for another one still. But so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video and see you guys for the next one. Bye!